Mental dieting is the number one mental skill you should be developing right now. And it has nothing to do with being manipulative, with being sneaky, with cheating on people, with lying. It has nothing to do with all of that. It all starts and ends with you. So, what is a mental diet? A mental diet is a practice of eliminating any negative thinking. That's it. It's just as simple as that. The goal is to be more in control of your thoughts in a way that makes you happier. It sort of adds up. You want to be happy, so what are you going to do? Eliminate everything that makes you unhappy. Simple. Just like when it comes to food, when you want to be healthier, you restrict some things from your diet and you focus on eating more of healthier stuff, and then in turn that makes you like stronger, feel better in your body, whatever it is that you want to achieve with your diet. By the way, I just want to take a minute here to mention how crazy this is, because when it comes to the food side of things, we all know the benefits of eating healthy. We all know the benefits of working out, of having a balanced diet. There's so much content, so much information online. There's so many people creating recipes. Okay, not all of them are good, we have to admit that. But there's so much free information. We all know what a good meal consists of. We all know that, there's macros in foods and that you need a balance of everything in order to do that. We're all familiar with, eating gluten-free, going keto, high protein, whatever. Like, we're all experts on this matter, but no one talks about the no one talks about the mind. And that's where it all starts and where it all ends, and no one talks about it. That's just insane. It's insane. And it's crazy that we don't teach this in schools. No one teaches us how to use our minds properly. We just never learn, unless when we turn like 20, 25, 30, some people much older, some people never. And we start looking into these topics on our own. It's like, I can actually develop this as a skill. And I can actually also learn how to do that with my mind. And then you're like, did I really have to get this old before I even knew that I could do these things? Before I drift completely off topic, I just wanted to stretch how crazy it is that no one pays attention. And we should be teaching mental dieting in schools. I'm going to say this, I'm going to leave it here. That's it. Anyways, mental dieting was first introduced by Emmet Fox. He wrote a book back in the 50s. It's like a very short, nice little book that cuts right to the chase. And it's called The 7-Day Mental Diet. And all the book does is basically challenge the reader to a 7-day mental practice in which he rejects all negative thoughts. And what do we mean by negative thoughts? Basically, a negative thought is anything that could spark a negative emotion in you. So the challenge is not to not have them, because that's impossible. These negative thoughts keep popping up every single second. Like, we have 60,000 thoughts a day on average. Like, of course, some of them are going to be negative. But the point of the mental dieting practice is that when you catch them, you sort of practice catching them. And then when you do, you reject them. You make a conscious choice in that particular instant that I'm not going to think about this right now because you belong in the unwanted category. So I'm going to replace you with something else, or I'm going to do something else to distract myself. So what Emmet does in his book is he challenges the reader to commit to a 7-day practice in which his only task is to be aware of his thoughts so that he can catch the negative ones and reject them. By rejecting, we mean you remove them from your mind. You do not engage with them. You do not entertain them. You do not allow them to live in your head. Because you will catch them. We all have them. I know I've been having tons of them over the last few days. But the point is to not give them any importance. And how are you going to do that? He gives a really nice example where he says that, it's just like when you're sitting in front of an open fire and there's little like pieces of burning wood flying out of it. If one of them lands on your clothes, you just brush it off and forget it ever happened. But if you let it sit there, it's going to burn a hole through your clothes. So you should be doing the exact same thing with negative thinking. When they come up, you just brush them off, you think of something else, you do something to distract yourself, and then you forget they even existed. Like, you start thinking about something else. You choose to ignore them, to like let them go. It's just a thought. It doesn't have to have any value. It only has value if you give it value. So that's basically all he challenges you to do in his 7-day mental challenge. You just do this for 7 days, and the argument is that 7 days is enough for you to see results. So you start with a few days, and then once you see how much this practice can bring in your life and how much happier you'll be, you're just gonna want to do it forever. To be fair, he's right. He's absolutely right. Like, within a few days, you will immediately see improvements, not just in the way you think and the way you perceive the world, but also in the way people react to you. And it's just, honestly, it's more fun. It's a more fun life once you do that, because, like, again, it makes sense. Like, everything that can make you have all the thoughts that the thongs all the thoughts that you don't need, you remove it, and then you just keep entertaining the ones you do need, or the ones you like. You might not even need them, you just like to think about certain topics. I mean, yeah. Why is mental dieting such a game changer? It's quite simple. Imagine that you get to pick your thoughts under any circumstance, no matter what, and that you always find ways to think about something that you like, instead of being dragged everywhere, thinking about things that you don't like, feeling drained, feeling like, life sucks and I have no energy to do anything because it's so bad and so sad and I'm so miserable. Like, imagine if every time a trigger shows up, you can just like turn it around. Like, no, I'm not gonna think about you. No, I'm not gonna do that. No, we're not doing that. Imagine if you do that, and you do it for so long that it becomes second nature. Imagine the kind of life you can be living. Imagine how powerful you become. It's like you become untouchable. There's nothing anyone can do that can hurt you. And by hurt you, I don't mean stab you in the back. I mean drag you down, make you unhappy, put you in a place that you don't want to be. And before you start saying, oh yeah, if it was so easy to control our thoughts and just, be happy, then everyone would be happy, right? Like, no one teaches us how to do this. It's not beneficial to the system if everyone knows that they're in charge of the thoughts they entertain. And I don't want to get too political here, and I don't want to be called a conspiracy theorist before I even start my channel. But it's true that it's not something that society pays importance to. No one ever teaches us how to do it. It's not that we cannot do it. It's just that we haven't made it part of the skills that are important to learn in life. And that's why I'm a little bit like, why? It can make so many people so much happier. Never mind, we're here to fix that. We're here to bridge the gap. That's why we're here. The point that I want to really make clear here is that every time you're presented with a situation, no matter how positive or how negative that situation is, you're always making a choice about what you want to make out of it. Always. And how does that happen? There's a sort of interpretation that happens, right? We have bodies. Our bodies are instruments that we use to sustain our life on Earth. We use them to move around. We use them to be human, right? They're instruments, they're vehicles, if you want to call them that. And these vehicles, like, they help us move around and interpret our surroundings. We have our senses. we use these five senses to understand what's going on around us. Like, oh, I'm getting too hot. It's because I feel it on my skin. I'm sweating. I can see the sun. It's blinding me. I can smell the heat. Like it's all of our senses that are interpreting what's going on around us, or our senses collect the information of what goes on around us. They send this information to our brains, and then it's your brain that decides what to do with that information. And I'll give you an example to explain what I mean. Let's say you're sitting in your car, you're stuck in traffic. The queue is huge, you're not moving. And you look at your watch and you're like, there's no way I'm gonna make it to my appointment on time. Yeah, it's just dead. Forget about it.
Forget about it. Forget about it. Paul, forget about it.
Yeah, so in that particular moment, you're presented with two options. Actually, it's more, but I'm just gonna explain two for, you could get angry. You could get pissed at, how no one knows how to drive and how bad the government is at fixing traffic jams, and that no one cares, and that your taxes go to nothing, and that the economy sucks, and you just end up going down a spiral, and then before you know it, you're hating life itself. Or you could say, I'm gonna be late, it doesn't look very good, so how about I call the person I'm having an appointment with, give him a heads up, like, yo, these are the facts, I'm gonna be late, I'm sorry, and then let it go. You hang up, turn on the radio. Oh, listen, they're playing my favorite song. I love this song. And then you look outside the window and it's like, oh, the sky looks amazing at this time of the day. I'm so lucky to live in this country. Yeah, we do have our traffic jams, but look at this. I mean, wow. Do you see the difference? Do you? The facts are still 100% the same. You're stuck in traffic, you're late to your appointment. The only difference is that in one scenario, you're miserable, and in the other, you're just happy. You're just happy. And this is like a super basic example, but it's the sort of situation that puts most of us in such an emergency state day after day after day after day. Whether if you live in a big city and you use public transportation to go to work, or like everything, you need to rush out in the morning, your kids are making you late, or the train is not coming, your boss is late at the meeting, then you have to submit this project and finish and hand it back, and then it's not good enough, and they're making you work on it again, and you're missing your deadlines, and it's all about like rushing, getting to things, to places that it's like, life is so unpredictable. If we are to allow everything that goes out of plan to put us in such a state, then it means we basically spend our lives living like that. And that's just not a way to live. It's just not possible. So we're either going to learn how to control, how to reject triggering thoughts, or we're always going to be a victim of circumstances. Always. There's always going to be something else, someone else that defines what we think about and how we feel day after day. And that's just not a life I want to live, and that shouldn't be a life that you want to live either, because it's not your own. It's been driven, it's been defined by someone else, basically by everyone else but you. Okay? This is why we need to talk about mental dieting, and this is why you need to learn how to use mental dieting. Again, I'm going to stress, like, if you think that this is a really like wishy-washy sort of situation and that we cannot choose what we think about, I want you to think again, because the only reason you believe that is that you've been a victim to your thoughts for so long that you no longer recognize the choosing step of the process. You're on autopilot. You just think about what everyone else wants you to think, and you've developed certain thinking patterns that your brain uses to drive you into certain directions now, and you just let it do whatever it wants with you. That's the only reason you don't see this happening. And think about it. What makes someone a pessimist? What is a pessimist? A pessimist is someone who tends to see the negative in every situation, whereas an optimist is someone who chooses to find the positive in every situation. It always, always, always starts with a choice. The more times you do the same choice, the stronger it becomes, and then it becomes part of who you are. It becomes part of your personality. So if you think that you cannot choose, no, it's just that you need to commit to choosing differently, and then you need to practice it until it becomes your new normal. That's what mental dieting is about, and that's why the 7-day mental diet challenge is a challenge, because it's something that you need to practice. You're going to start, and then you're going to do it for a couple of days, and you're going to see that something happened, it triggered you, you fell back into old patterns. That's okay, and it happens to everyone. The point is to get back up again and to say, no. It happened once, okay, now we're fixing it. It happened twice, okay, back at it again, and then again, and then again. And the more you do it, the better you get at it. And then before you know it, the choosing part becomes automatic again, but this time in the right way. So if you think that you tend to be pessimistic, it's wonderful because you're aware of it. And now that you're aware of it, you can change it. Unless you like being pessimistic, which, in that case, just, you do you, bro. But I wouldn't. Like, the results of thinking positively and being an optimist and, trying to see the best in every situation, they're out there. And psychology has tons of information on it. Studies, like, it's just facts. So you do you, but. So I want you for a second to think about how we use the term diet in our language. We say, I'm a vegan, right? I only consume plant-based products. That means I'm on a vegan diet. I'm not vegan, but I am Mediterranean. I primarily consume Mediterranean food. So I'm on a Mediterranean diet. I follow the Mediterranean diet. But we also say, I'm going to go on a diet to achieve a certain objective, whether that's to lose weight, to treat a certain medical condition, whatever it might be. We can go on a specific diet to achieve a specific objective. I want to lose weight. I'm healthy about losing weight. I'm not, I'm going to go to the gym and then I'm going to eat a high protein, carb cycling sort of a diet, or I have gluten intolerance. I'm going to go on a gluten-free diet. In any case, I'm going on a specific diet to achieve a specific something. So now, the word diet comes from the Greek word dieta. And dieta means an approach to nutrition or living. So it can be one or the other. Why is that important? Because if we apply the two definitions to the mental dieting part, what do we get? We get that one, you already have a mental diet in place, whether you realize it or not. And second, you can go on a specific diet to achieve a specific objective. Let me say that again. You already have a mental diet in place, which is what we were just discussing about your habitual thinking patterns and what you tend to make out of situations. That's your current mental diet. And you can also go on a specific mental diet to achieve a certain objective. Got it? Got it. This is why I wanted to make this video. In his work, Emmet talks about using mental dieting to be happier. Mental diet your way to happiness. That's a wonderful thing to do, and that's a wonderful thing to strive for. but it's not always as easy as it sounds, because most of the times we don't even know what it is that would make us happy. It's all very confusing. So it can sound a bit vague, and or maybe it applies to a time before. The book was written in the 50s, so it's maybe a little bit harder for us to relate to that. There's so many demands and so many different kinds of achievements that you can have today than it was back in the day. This is who's shaking the boat. Okay. Mental diet buddy. Yeah, okay. Where was I? Yeah, so maybe that's what it all comes down to, right? Everything in life comes down to making yourself happy. Whether that's more money or a certain career you want to follow or someone you want to meet. It's always about happiness. And we only want things because we think that having them is going to make us happier. So yes, happiness is the overarching goal. But we have way too complex lives today. There's so many things that we want to achieve. And most of the time, we don't even know what is it that is actually going to make us happy. So what I realize is that mental dieting worked for me best when I got specific with it. And what I mean is to achieve certain goals, like specific goals. And I know that reaching my goals makes me really happy. So, two birds, one stone. But what I figured is that eventually by getting specific with your mental diet, you can also get really specific on how you handle incoming thoughts and triggers. And that's what I wanted to bring your attention to. Let's say that you have been experiencing a lot of stress at work. You've been having a lot of stress lately, a lot of requirements. It's just not making you very happy. Decreasing your stress is a specific goal around which you can build a specific diet, specific mental diet. How are you going to do that? For example, let's say you have a colleague, whenever you talk to them, they're, talking about the economy and you're really not satisfied with your salary. So whenever they do that, it stresses you the fuck out because it's just adding to the things that you don't like about your current job. How about you don't talk to them today? Or you don't sit with them at lunch? Or when you prepare yourself that when that topic comes up, you're gonna remove yourself from the situation as long as it doesn't enter your mind. Or let's say there's this project and the expectations about it are so unrealistic. How about you tell yourself, I'm gonna express that what's going on is just not helping the project advance in the right way. And if my concerns do not get through, then I'll just detach myself from the outcome. I'll be less involved in the quality. I'm not gonna give my best. I'm just gonna do whatever I can with what they want me to do, and that's about it. I'm not gonna care about it too much. Disclaimer, I know this is not the best thing that you can do to provide the best outcome. It's definitely not going to be the best way to deliver the project. But at the end of the day, this will be the best thing for you and your mental health. And this is what it's all about. It's about you. It's not about them. So, you expressing your concerns is the action you take to sort of say, okay, I tried. I didn't give up. I did try because I do care. But if my message doesn't get through, there's not much I can do. I'm not gonna, exhaust myself over it and go to bed stressed and wake up stressed. And it's just not helping me. I'm just giving examples, by the way. I don't know what goes on in your lives. It could be the beauty of this. It's like you can apply the same principle to literally everything in life. Everything. And that's why mental dieting is so powerful. The more specific you get, the better the outcome has been to my experience. But it somehow works in both ways. As if, okay, I said that doing a mental diet for happiness is a bit too vague and a bit too general and maybe a bit too big to approach. But breaking it down into smaller diets about smaller topics somehow all contributes to the overarching goal of being happier. If our thoughts create our reality, and if with the right mental diet in place, we can have the right thoughts, it means that you can literally create anything you want in life. You can create whatever reality you want to be in and just live in it. And it all starts and ends with you. The only thing you need to do is claim your power and understand how this works. That's the key to manifesting. That's like, everyone is so big on manifesting now. You need to be it to receive it. And it's in the being, it's not in the trying. And it doesn't require action, it just requires attraction. And I'm being a poet now, but you know how it works. You don't need to try to get things. You just vibrate a certain vibration. And then the things that you want come find you. That's the law of attraction. That's how it all works. 100% true. But if you're anything like me, I've never been able to just sit back and wait. I've never been able to do nothing. Doing nothing makes me fear that I'm not doing everything I can in order to make my dreams come true. Like, I need to do something. I need to work. I need to put in the work. I like working on things that I care about. So for me, the mental dieting skill has been a sort of middle ground where I can do something without doing anything. Does that make sense? It does, right? It does. Because I can commit to a certain practice. I can prepare myself, set a few ground rules for myself, and then I can stick to, it's like creating a plan for myself that I need to commit to. It's a plan that I need to practice, just like I'm meal planning my meals every week, and I know what I'm gonna eat, and and then I stick to it, and at the end of the week I feel amazing because it's like, yes, you reached your goal, you're getting better, you're getting fitter. Same way in my head, it's like I'm doing something, I'm working towards something, but at the same time I'm not doing anything because it happens in my head 100%. So for me, this has been like, guys, game changer. And yeah, my key to manifesting a lot of things. So what I did with my mental diets, and what I want to help you do too, is that I created my plans, how I'm gonna go about certain topics, and then once I had those in place, I hacked them. What do I mean by that? My plans tell me, my mental diets, were my guidelines as to what sort of thoughts do I want to entertain about a particular topic, and what sort of thoughts I shouldn't be entertaining about a particular topic. And then I found ways to hack that process. And honestly, it's not just that it works amazingly well, it's also that it's just a lot of fun. I took it a step further, as in I identified and thought about the triggers of those thoughts. So what sort of activities, what kind of input is helping me create the thoughts that do help my mental diet? And what are the triggers, inputs, people, places, things that trigger the negative thoughts that I do not want in my life? Obviously, you find the negative triggers, you just remove them. And then you find the positive ones, you find new positive ones, and then you just add them, enhance them, whatever. Before you know it, you're conditioning yourself. You're putting yourself in environments, places, situations that just fuel, supercharge your mental diet efforts. And it's just, the results are like, bam, 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 like, but I'm gonna save this for another video because this one is getting like way too long already. If you want to know more about this, because it is coming, you better stick around. For now, I just want to leave you with, there's nothing you cannot do with the right mental diet in place. Nothing. There's nothing anyone could say, do, there's nothing that could happen to you that could affect you if you claim the power you have over your thoughts and what you do with them. Nothing. So if I can help at least one person understand that today and be reminded of that today and tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, I'm going to keep showing up. I'm going to keep showing up because it's important. We need to be talking about the things that matter. This is what we're here to do. This is what this channel is dedicated to. And yeah, see you in the next one. Bye.